Alright, so we're going to prune roses. It's end of September, it's the beginning of August actually. Southern Hemisphere, we're going into spring. So we've got a potted rose that's been in the, I don't know, 2-3 years. We pruned it down quite heavily a year and a half ago. And this is the growth we've got. Leave 3 healthy canes when you're pruning quite vigorously. 3 healthy canes coming out of the ground.
Which 3?
Well, that's just it. What would identify a healthy cane is you look for the most vigorous, the thickest, greenest, healthiest canes.
Okay.
And then if you look a bit further up, a good example is the difference between these two, where this one is very thick and straight for all the way up pretty much to the top of that. This is short. It's got very short, sickly looking branches.
It looks a bit scraggly.
Exactly. The scraggly stuff you want to take out, and you leave only 3 of these canes.
Okay.
Now you're going to cut them off fairly low as well, and it's important where you choose, or that you choose where you cut it. This is how you shape your rose bush.
Okay, what determines where you cut it though?
That's just it. You're going to be looking for nodes. Now this over here is a node. That's a growth node.
Okay, so this is the node.
That's a node. That's a growth point. So all new growth is going to come out of that. And they grow in different points, essentially, in different directions coming off of a stem. Exactly the same as these branches come off of this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Those were at one time a growth point, a node. So to train your shrub or your plant into the shape you want it, you choose which direction you want the branches to come out, where you cut right above a node pointing in the direction that you want it to be. So this node is literally pointing that direction.
Okay, I'm going to come closer so we can get a better view.
So essentially what you're looking for on those healthy canes, the ones that you've chosen to prune, what you're looking for is your growth points. Now let me see where we are on this guy. So this over here, where are we? That over there is a growth node facing that direction. Then this over there is a growth node pointing towards us. Essentially, you're going to cut above the node in the direction you want the growth to come out. That's how you would shape your shrub. So if we cut this one literally just above where the node is, that growth will grow out to the left. And progressively you work your way around the shrub, and much the same as the branches that come out. They were once growth points. So in the direction this branch is growing, had we cut above that, that would have been the very next point of growth, and most of the energy would have been put into that particular node or branch. So
can you see that?
Yeah. So that's how you would choose essentially the direction you want your growth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is prune right above this growth point here, this node. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Alright. And I prune right above that so that the growth can come out towards the camera. It'll grow outwards from the shrub. Now this branch over here, the scraggly with a lot of little ugly looking branches, I'm going to take right off, actually under the ground. I'll take that off as deep down as I can go, because I don't want that growth at all anymore. Selectively pruning the plant. So let's go in and get rid of this entire branch. So then this, like I said, I'm going to prune right above this node over here. And let's see. That's it. Now, this cane will focus all of its energy on that one growth point. Well, essentially that one. It will sprout here and there, but you can even knock those small shoots off where you don't want the growth. And it'll focus on here and grow lovely, big, healthy branches out of here. And as the years progress, you'll be chopping this entire thing off when a new healthy cane is grown from the rootstock to replace this.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so what we're going to be doing here is propagating the rose cuttings we've just taken from pruning. I'd like to try and keep some of these in containers, portable. They've been with us a really long time. They've got some sentimental value, and when we do eventually move, I'd like to be able to take a bit of what we had with us, you know. A rusty old pair of secateurs and my gloves. So we're going to be taking roughly, I don't know, 5 to 8 inch lengths of the cutting.
How many centimeters?
Or I'd say about 15 to 20. My conversion might be a bit messed up, but about 15 to 20 centimeters worth. And we'll put a bit of rooting hormone on that, rooting powder, and stick it in the pot, and we'll finish it off, make a bit of a humidifier, a makeshift humidifier. So I'll start in the smaller of the two, and say a good 20 centimeters worth. We'll cut that off. We're going to dip this in rooting hormone and plant it fairly deeply, about, I don't know, 8 centimeters or so, and leave the rest above the ground. Keep it humid, keep it moist, keep the climate in there fairly controlled, no very cold snaps, and it should start propagating from the growth nodes we were talking about earlier. Right, just get the rooting hormone and we'll give this a bash. So I've just got a powdered, locally produced, locally sourced rooting hormone for hardwood cuttings. It's dip roughly the first. I want to try and get that a bit cleaner so I don't get gravel and muck in the powder. The rooting hormone. Right, it is quite damp. The cutting is at least rather damp, which is good. So a bit of rooting hormone on the end of that. Put a fair amount on, don't be shy. It's not going to harm it having more than it needs. And yeah, that's roughly what you'll land up with. Make a nice hole in your pot and try not to disturb the rooting powder or the hormone powder on the end of the cutting as you're putting it in the ground, and then just gently cover it up around it. Let's try that. I haven't got a pokey stick, so I'm just going to use a pokey finger. So you want to bury it pretty much as deep as the rooting hormone is. That must be below ground. Be careful not to disturb it on the sides as you put it in, and just gently cover it up. There we go. With any luck, we should have a clone essentially in a week or two. We'll carry on with a few more, and as we progress through the different types of roses, we'll propagate in different pots, label them, and we'll know exactly what it is that we've got in there. Now, what I've got down here is in the little white bucket is just water. You want to get your cuttings, if you are going to propagate, you want to get your cuttings into a bucket of water as quickly as possible when you're pruning and you cut them off the original rootstock, get that cut end into some water as quickly as possible. And if you, instead of cutting one and rooting it, rooting, you can cut them all, get them prepped, but just keep them in the bucket of water. So this ugly section, that's just random branches and growth coming off of that. And throw that away, and we're going to carry on with a nice length of cane. Fairly thick, about try and get it as close to a finger's thickness as you can. My finger's not that thick, I've got a glove on. Fairly decent length of cane. Chop that off. Moisten the end that you're going to put the rooting hormone on. Find the rooting hormone that you've recently lost.
Left to the right there.
There we go. Same as before, you're going to dip your damp end into some rooting hormone. Make sure you get a good coating on there. Again, don't be shy. It won't do any damage. You don't want to waste it, obviously, you're paying for it, but that's what you'll end up with. You want to get your money's worth, damn right. So there we go, a nice healthy piece of cane, bit of rooting hormone. We're going to dig a hole and stick it in. What I've done to control the humidity in here, I've taken bamboo stakes. We've actually got reeds growing in the area which work perfectly fine, just dry them out nicely. Cut to roughly the same length, but taller than the clones essentially. Now what I'm going to do is take cling wrap and wrap it around the pot and these, not very tight, it just needs to keep humidity in. Make a layer of cling wrap around this, and I'll make a little lid out of cling wrap as well. It's going to be very primitive and it won't look very nice, but it's just serving the purpose of keeping the humidity in here.
So we're going to build like a rose greenhouse.
Exactly. Just a backyard greenhouse in a pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Did you check that we've got enough cling wrap?
I'm sure we will have. Yeah. But that's the plan.
Yeah. You're going to pack this up quick and then we can finish the garden bed.
some pretty colours in here. Yeah, I reckon that'll look nice between the roses when they start coming out again. I like these pretty edged petunias. Pansies, sorry, are phenomenal. Yeah, really cool.
Pansies, violas, there is a difference.
Yeah.
The same thing to me.
And once the roses start coming back in, that's going to be amazing.
What I've done so far, just so that I could see what I was looking at, because I'm quite a visual person, is I've actually taken the starts out of the tray, the seedlings, and I've just put them in the garden where I want to plant them, just so that I could see whether or not I like it. It is very patterny at the moment, but I've tried to keep a visual flow of color throughout the little garden bed. We'll see if it works.
Let's give it a try. I've never tried this method before. I've seen it done. It's a bit of a strange way of doing it. I agree, but it's worth a shot when in a pinch. And I've tried rooting these roses previously, and they just did not want to. Now, I thought of this method previously, but never tried it. I think no better time than the present. Alright. Okay, and this should hold in the humidity, with any luck, relatively well. Hi guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. We've got a fair amount done. It's high time we got the roses pruned. I'm glad we managed to get them done. It looks a bit sparse, but it'll fill out as soon as the season changes. Got some colour in the garden, some more flowers for the pollinators coming into spring. Looking forward to that. But yeah, thanks for spending your time with us. Really appreciate it. Consider subscribing, liking, and share if you like what you see, and if your mates would like to watch it too. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.